And first thing, as we're settling into this posture on the earth, first thing is to connect with our breath. And we're going to try to find an equal breath, meaning inhales and exhales are equal. We're not focusing too much on one. We're not doing too much of the other. We're in that good, perfect balance right in the middle. That means we might have to add counts to make sure that they're equal. So take a few breaths just to notice within your system what that equal breath feels like at this moment. Good. So taking another deep breath like that in and out. And continue that breath while we take just a moment to connect with our intention. This last week was, we had our, just a couple of days ago, the spring equinox pass. And so that's that moment where the equator is exactly, right toward the sun, to the direction that there's not too much sun, there's not too much darkness. It's right there balanced in the middle. There's exactly equal light and darkness. And so we'll be playing with different ideas with that today. We'll be playing with balance within our system, kind of playing with teetering left and right versus the balance right in the middle. We'll be playing with that idea of our equator being that midline of the body, trying to help that midline be nice and centered. And we'll be playing with kind of anytime we tilt or kind of shift off to one side, we'll take the equal time shifting and balancing off to the other side, so that in the end we're balanced, we're centered, we're right there in the middle. So that's our inspiration for today. So kind of metaphorically in the back of the mind, think about what is off balance in your life at this moment, whether it's off balance in the active way or off balance in the passive way. And how can we bring ourselves into just a little bit more balance right there in the middle, based on how our energy is and how our body feels. And so that simple idea to lead us on that balance, let's allow knees to start coming into the chest. And with knees in, let's take it easy, left and right. It's almost like by rocking off the center, we're able to notice how to bring ourselves into that greater balance in the middle. It's like we don't realize we're off balance until we start tilting, and then we're like, oh yeah, that side doesn't feel quite right. That good balance right there in the middle. Good, and so purposely taking ourselves off balance, let's let the knees go all the way over to the left, arms spread open. You don't have to force anything, just take it to the extent that the muscles are happy. Let's enjoy just a couple of good breaths in and out. The arms spreading open, notice how that upper body is trying to get balanced with the twist of the lower body. Good. So take it over to the second side, knees coming up, and then all the way over. And notice once again, how can this upper body stretching open, trying to stay on the ground, how can that balance this lower half of the body trying to twist? So a nice inhale. Exhale, hips back onto the mat. Drop the feet close to the glutes, hands on the floor by the hips. And let's take a few bridge poses, trying to keep the equal breath. So with our inhale, we roll up and try to keep the breath just as long as we exhale, rolling down. Like we're massaging through our equator, trying to help it find balance. Inhales and exhales. Really focus on that breath. Here, let's take 2 more. Good. Left leg can drop all the way long on the ground. Right leg makes its way up to the sky. You can use your hands to help out. And so with this right foot up to the sky, the first thing we're going to focus on is the toes. Helping that foot try to work into some of its muscles. So maybe you're doing circles and then switching directions. Maybe you're tracing your name, almost like a signature up in the sky. If at any point you feel yourself getting into tight spots of your foot, feel free to ease around on that part of the foot for an extra moment. That'll help us find that greater balance. Good, and then letting the foot come to stillness. Let's allow this right knee to bend just a little bit. And then when we straighten it back up, try to get to that point where we feel the hamstring stretching out. And then just take that easy pulse, bending and straighten. Doing a few more rounds. Just like we just focused on the toes a moment ago, you'll notice a big focus of our class today is including the feet. And the reason for that is because balance is centered around 3 things working in our body. So first we use our eyes to help us be in balance. By the way, the next time this leg goes straight, go ahead and let it be in stillness. So eyes helps us be in balance. Ears helps us be in balance, especially the inner ear. And the third part of balance is our feet connecting down to the earth. So we'll be connecting, trying to find balance today, largely through that feet to the earth connection. So in this nice stretch up to the sky of this leg, let's take 1 more inhale. And with our exhale, when we release this right leg down, cross it over the left foot, and we'll take our banana shape, so legs scoot off to the left side. Up above our head, grab right wrist and scoot the shoulders off to the left. Choose your quality. You could be completely passive here, that's nice. Or you could be active, trying to really open up those rib and hip muscles, trying to push against the ankle and wrist connections. Good, so another inhale and exhale. Return your spine right to the middle of the mat. Once you're there, right leg stays relaxing down, left leg up to sky. And first things first, let's work into those toes. Nice and easy, left, right, or circles, or sign your name, whatever it is that helps you get into some of those foot areas. It's kind of funny, a week or so ago, I was chatting with a teenager, and this teenager didn't realize that your foot has muscles. And so she was asking me, by strengthening my foot muscles, what am I helping? And I told her, you're helping your balance. You're helping make it so your foot knows how to correct itself on the ground. And so I don't think we all have an awareness of our feet all the time. We kind of put them in shoes and then just make it do its thing. So let's get back into the straight leg stretches. So take the knee to a little bit of bend and then work it all the way straight until you feel those muscle fibers pulling long. Take a few more rounds of that easy bend and straighten. Take another 3, 2, 1. Good, hold it straight just a bit longer. And when we release it down, cross that left ankle over the right. And we'll take the banana off to right, so legs to right. Shoulders to right, grabbing onto left wrist, scoot it over. Same quality as before, passive or active pushing against. So a nice inhale. Exhale. And then returning onto the middle of the mat. Let's release. Fill your body in this nice equal spot. Take an equal breath in and out. And then taking happy baby. There's no forcing of you to reach your feet, but if you can reach feet, maybe almost like you're playing a piano on your foot, give it just like a mini massage, just the fingers like kind of pressing around just a hair. While we're in that hip opener, knees going wide. Nothing too intense with that foot massage. Maybe one more breath in and out. And then let this happy baby do anything that helps you out. So maybe you're rocking left and right, finding the balance of your spine. Or maybe you know that your hamstrings need a little bit more. So you straighten one all the way up. And then go into the other side. Good. Letting the knees come together. Let's work our way up to a seated place. So if you like rolling like a ball, let's take 3 or 4. Otherwise, you can just come directly up. Good. And from our seated place, let's take collar-toned legs. If you can maintain that for a nice little shoulder stretch, getting our right shoulder into that equilibrium, pull it in, maybe head to left. And opening back out. Second side, hug it in. And open. Hands behind us, taking a little bit of a back bend. Heart arches forward, head rocks back. Just a little bit of heart opening. A good inhale. And exhale, balance that direction off by going forward now. Grounding the spine down, let the head drop. If there's tightness in the neck, maybe you ease your head left and right to help that come into greater balance. When the spine starts to rise, let's pick up our right knee, flip it over to the left knee, and continue to walk your hands behind you, just an easy little twist. Notice if you can take equal breath, inhales, equal length, as exhales. Starting to return forward. Let this right foot plant. We're going to pause here for just a moment, focusing on our toes. So what I want you to do on that right foot, lift all the toes up, and then try to press your big toe down. Hold it there for a moment. There's kind of 3 places of our foot that helps us to maintain the balance while we're standing. So the first is the big toe mound, which is what we're pressing down into now. Now lift that big toe up. Now we try to press the pinky toe down. We call that the pinky toe mound. So that's the second spot of balance. Gotta press that pinky toe, just another breath in and out. And then lift up all the toes. Now this is the funky one. Try to get your big toe and your pinky toe to press down together at the same time, trying to leave the other 3 lifted. Feel that foot getting a little bit stronger from this work. Nice inhale and exhale. And then press the entire foot into the ground for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Relax. We're going to try to grab around the ball of this right foot, allowing that foot to stretch up to sky the straightest we can get the leg. Okay, if it's a little bit bent, this is trying to get us just deeper and deeper into that hamstring. Nice inhale. And then exhale, set that right leg down in front of you. And we're gonna continue to stretch into a forward fold over the right leg. If it's easy to reach this right foot, maybe your hand helps to give that foot a little bit of a massage. Kind of getting some good blood flow into it, helping to squeeze the lymph out of it. Not a requirement though, so don't feel like you have to massage the foot. Good. Let's take it to second side, back into cobbler's pose. Trying to get ourselves into the right shoulder stretch for a moment, balancing right half. And open. Take it into left half. And open. Hands behind, take a little back bend, heart lifting, head rocking back if that feels okay. Good. And then down into cobbler's pose. Again, if there's neck tightness still, maybe the head rocks around just a little bit. Right and left. And when our spine lifts back up, take the left knee, flip it over to the right. And the hands continue to walk behind, easy twist. Find that equal breath. Inhale. Exhale. Another round. And when we return, this left foot stays planted on the ground. Let's do the same little workout for the foot. So all the toes lift. And then big toe tries to push down into the ground. Leave it there for a moment. Feel that big toe mound. Still breathing. And lift up the big toe. Set the pinky toe down. Nice inhale. Exhale the hard one, trying to get pinky toe and big toe down. The other three toes trying to stay lifted. Nice inhale. Exhale, press all the feet down into the ground for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, relax. Grab onto the foot, rocking the weight back just a hair. Maybe the leg straightens up. It's always fine if you need to grab your calf or ankle instead. A nice inhale. And exhale, start to set this foot down. Continue to relax forward. Maybe foot massage going on. Beautiful. Rising back up, let's head into the kneeling position, hands and knees. Let's give it a couple of breaths to do our cat-cows. Kind of finding the spine in imbalance by going up, but then we balance it off by going down, trying to be equal. See if even the breath can be equal. Nice exhales. Equal in length to inhales. Let's take 2 more rounds. Good, spine to neutral. Let's take the right leg for the back of the mat, tucking the toes, and we're gonna go for a nice calf stretch. So if just pushing back a little bit gets you into the calf, that's fine. I have to lift up my other knee to really get into it, so do whatever you need to do. Enjoying that right heel, getting closer to the ground, that calf stretch working for us. Inhale, equal exhale. Good. From here, take the right foot, cross it behind you over to the left side, trying to keep all 5 toes down. From there, push the hips to the right, gaze over your shoulder toward those toes, off to the left. Feel all the toes pushing down. Take another good inhale. Exhale, release, almost like a semicircle. Circle this right foot all the way off to the right side. Once it's there, keep on rotating your foot so that even the pinky toe is trying to push down. And then lower onto elbows. Couple of breaths here, keep the breath equal. And back up onto hands. Continue the circle, the foot comes up toward the top right corner. And then we ease into lizard, trying to let the hips sink forward. In lizard, it would be easy for me to kind of lift up my toes, kind of rocking onto the outside edge of the foot. Instead, keep the entire foot down. You can stay on hands, you can go to elbows, it's up to you, but keep that foot solidly pressing into the earth. Nice inhale. Exhale, work back up onto hands. This foot continues to make its way to the center of the mat. And from here, the leg is straightening out. And I want you to take a couple of rounds, pointing the toes forward and then lifting the toes up. So notice when you point forward, you're stretching kind of the front part of the foot. And then when you lift the toes up, you're pulling the calf into the stretch. So a couple more breaths, down and up. And then from here, you get to choose whichever of those spots feels best on the foot. So maybe pointing, maybe flexing, but let that foot be in a good placement. Another good inhale. Equal exhale. And take this leg back. We'll go into either kind of a plank or we'll make it easier, kind of lifting up a little bit higher to down dog. Either way, what we're doing is rocking forward and backward on the feet for a moment. Rock as far forward as your feet can, and then as far back as your heels can. Just a couple of times, almost like a little massage, rocking that foot out. Nice inhale. Exhale. Taking another 3, 2, 1. Good. And from here, right knee drops down. Keep those left toes at the back for the calf stretch, pressing back until you feel that calf opening. Nice inhale. Equal exhale. And swing that foot off to the right side, trying to keep all toes down. Hips go to left. Gaze over your shoulder to the right. Next inhale. Exhale. Semicircle the foot all the way around to the left side. Keep even the pinky toe side down as we lower onto elbows. Inhale. Equal length exhale. Coming up onto hands, lizard. Foot makes its way to that top left corner. Drop the hips forward. And remember, instead of the big toe lifting, big toe is pushing down, entire foot is flat. Maybe you choose to lower to elbow, but it's not required. Nice inhale. Exhale. Up onto the hands. Take the foot into the center. Leg is straightening. And then it's all about the toes. Point the toes forward. Heel the toes back. Doing a few more rounds just like that. Three, two, one, and pause in your favorite spot, whether it's pointed or flexed. And as this knee starts to take its way back, let's do the same thing, plank or more of a down dog, rocking forward and backward on the feet as far as that foot can handle. It's almost like a reset. Here's another 3, 2, 1. Good work. As we go up to downward facing dog, let's allow hips to get set up nice and high. Know that the goal is never to get heels necessarily to touch the ground, but oftentimes I don't even realize that I'm kind of purposely keeping the heels up to get the hips higher. So what we're gonna do here, keep the hips purposely high, but then allow heels to see how close they're willing to drop down. Just enjoy that calf stretch. We'll take another 2 deep, equal breaths. Good, and then make your way up to the top of the mat. You can always lift yourself a little bit higher or have hands down toward the ground. It's up to you. But let's take a few moments to rock forward and backward on the feet. Kind of playing with those 3 mounds, the big toe, the pinky toe, and if I didn't mention it earlier, the heel is the 3rd mound. Good, now try to rock left and right, feeling the mounds shift around and try to keep you in balance. Good, and then find your weight on the middle of the feet. As we come up to stand, try to keep all 3 of those mounds equally pressing down. We're trying to feel that sensation of entire foot pressing. So from there, when you're ready, inhale, circle up to sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Keep the feet equally pressing like this, very, very solid in the ground as we allow our shoulders to open again, balancing left side. Hook that left arm around. Maybe head to right. And open. Second arm. And open. Good. Dropping hands either down at our sides or hands to heart. We're going to do that same foot exercise that we did earlier, helping to strengthen. So lift up all the toes. And then from there, try to get the big toes to push down into the ground. The rest of the foot's trying to work it. It's almost like a little exercise, work it out, lift everything else up. A nice inhale. Exhale, all toes lift. Now pinky toes try to press down. Nice inhale. Exhale, all toes lift. The funky one, try to get pinky toes and big toes to press down. Maybe your fingers are kind of trying to mimic that. Get that same action going on. Try to keep your fingers relaxed. Good. With the toes, one more inhale. Exhale, and then lift all the toes. And then press the toes into the ground for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good work. Start to shift your weight into your left foot, letting that foot take over your entire weight. When you have balance, see if the right knee is willing to float in front of us. Good. If the left hand can go to that right knee, take that. This right arm will work through the shoulder, reaching up and back. And then return. So that foot on the ground, trying to stay with balance. Up and back. And return. This next time, just stay in that easy balance, feeling the foot on the ground, just stable, pressing equally through all 3 points. Good, arm returns. And then kick this leg back, the right leg into warrior 3, trying to find that equal spot. The torso, round, sky, legs, all of it's in that nice balanced spot. And then when we land the foot, keep just those right toes on the ground. The heel is lifted. We'll take a little twist. You can either hook the right wrist and open up left arm, or slide down to elbow, and then take it in prayer position. So your front foot still trying to stay grounded. Good. Unwind from the twist. Back heel drops down. Arms sweep up to sky. Maybe we continue to circle hands to the backside of our hips, taking a little back bend. Good. And we balance that off. Clasp hands behind your back. Pull the arms into a shoulder stretch as we bow down. Left shoulder getting close to left knee. Nice inhale. Exhale, hands start to release, rising up. From here, take just a moment, rotating open warrior 2. And then turn the toes to the long edge of the mat, this right edge, and take it into a nice forward fold. Choose your favorite arm position, feel the legs equally lengthening. From here, we're going to take a little balance. Know that if your knee ever can't handle it, just take a little bit of bend to the right knee. Otherwise, if you're okay, go into a low side lunge over that right foot. So from here, it's a place where we can play with balance if it's working. So maybe fewer and fewer fingers go on the ground. Maybe one hand to heart. Maybe both hands to heart. Notice this is kind of a funky balance because we're getting the right foot with the pinky toe and big toe mounds, and then the heel mound is actually on the left foot. Good, so take one more inhale. Exhale, hands drop, straighten both legs right through the center. Let's take a good inhale. Nice exhale, equal in length. And we'll start to bend the left knee. Maybe fewer and fewer fingers. Maybe one hand to heart. Maybe both hands to heart. Good, a nice inhale. Exhale, right back through the center, straight legs. Bending the knees, let's roll our spine up. Turn the front toes forward. And we're going to take a nice warrior 3 over that front leg. So arms can help balance, whatever helps us to stay in that equal spot. We're gonna launch ourselves over that front foot. Find the best balance possible. And then start to take the torso up. Rotate this right knee directly open into tree pose. Maybe hands to heart. Maybe arms to sky. Remember, the tree pose doesn't have to have foot on thigh. You could go lower. Feel the foot on the ground, pressing all parts equally. A nice inhale. Exhale, release, and give that right foot a couple of circles. Almost like gratitude. Thank you for doing so much. That was a lot of balancing stuff, back to back to back. Good. Okay, so right here in the center, we've got our feet right underneath our hips, posture tall like that nice equator. And so from here, try to lift up all the toes and just big toes press down. Good, lift them all. Just pinky toes press down. Good. Lift. The hard one, big toe and pinky toe. The other three are trying to stay lifted. Nice inhale. Exhale. Toes lift. And then all 10 toes push down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shift your weight into right foot now. Left knee will start to float. If the balance is good enough that right hand can take over that knee, let it shift over. Shoulder opener, this left arm going up and back and return. Repeating 2. Try to stay in balance on that standing foot. Last one, all the way back, stay. Feel that shoulder open. A nice inhale. Equal exhale. And return. Taking this leg back for warrior 3. Feel the balance. Try to get the foot in steadiness, the one on the ground. And then back toes land. For the twist, we're either hooking the wrist or hooking the elbow. Nice inhale. Exhale, release. Back heel drops down. Sweep the arms up to sky. Maybe hands to the back. Finding that balance as we go to the space behind us. Good, rising that up. Equal it off by hand clasp. Shoulder stretch as we bow forward. Releasing hands. Warrior 1, sweep up. Open warrior 2. And turn the toes to the long edge. Going into wide angle forward fold, both legs equally stretching. Nice inhale. Exhale. We're gonna go for the same little balance. So bend over left knee. Maybe you keep hands on the floor this time, or maybe we try to lift back up. One hand to heart, or both hands. Nice inhale. Exhale, hands down, switch the legs out. Pause right in the center, for just a breath. So that inhale equal to exhale. Okay, going over to the second side. Maybe a hand at heart, maybe both. So that breath still flowing, equal inhale, equal exhale. Hands down, straight legs. So a full breath, equal inhale, equal exhale. Bending the knees, roll up. And the front toes toward top of mat. We're gonna launch our way into warrior 3 over that foot. As soon as possible, try to have that foot find balance, pressing down. Good. Torso rises. Rotate this left leg directly into tree pose. So the spine returning back to that equator spot, that nice middle, even, balanced place. We're neither tilting toward the sun nor away from the sun. We're not forward, we're not backward, we're not left, we're not right. We're right there, tall in the middle. Take another inhale. Exhale. Release it down. A little circle for that left foot, or that right foot now. Give it some love. And maybe both feet shaking out. Good work. So from here, let's allow ourselves to get just a hair more strengthening for the feet. Let's allow feet to have big toes touching together, heels slightly separated. And so from here, we're going to go into fierce pose. So sitting back like we're in a chair, hands in heart. And as we start to rock onto those front two mounds, lift up the heels. Try to stay with balance. Inner thighs can squeeze together, that can help. Good, setting the heels down, straighten the legs, arms at our sides. Try to do the same thing, heels lift from the straight leg position. Inhale. Equal exhale. Heels down. Sitting back into that chair, hands can be at the heart. Try to lift up the heels. Keep inner thighs squeezing together. A nice inhale. Exhale. Good. Heels down, drop the hands to floor, a nice forward fold. And here you can either go back to that chair with the heels lifted that we just practiced, or try to go into a toe squat. The glutes dropping down toward heels. This could be an okay spot with fingers on the ground, or maybe you're working fewer and fewer fingers on the earth. Maybe one hand to heart. Maybe both hands to heart, feeling the spine lifting like the equator. Inner thighs squeezing together at that middle spot. Good. Take a nice inhale. Exhale. And finding the hands on the earth. Start to step the feet back into a nice plank pose. You can go straight to down dog. You can take a child pose, or you have an optional flow if you'd like. Lowering chaturanga. A little back bend. Good, and then we all go up to downward facing dog. Let's lift right leg up to sky. Right knee comes under and through our body, setting up that leg in the pigeon pose shape. And before we settle completely down into sleeping pigeon, let's give this right foot a little massage. So there's a couple of things you could do. You could use the right hand, like use that thumb pad, or you could use the entire palm of this left hand to just use almost like a pressure massage right around that foot, whatever spot's still tight. It's no rush. You can stay here as long as it's still feeling helpful for that right foot. But whenever you're ready, you're welcome to lower down onto elbows. Sleeping pigeon will be here for a little while. Try to focus on that breath, keeping it right there in the middle, equilibrium. Balanced inhale, balanced exhale. Okay, from here, planting our hands, tuck the back toes. As we step back, you can take child pose. You can go straight to down dog, or you can add in a little flow as our recovery. Lowering chaturanga, little back bend, and downward facing dog. When you're ready, left leg can float up to sky. Send it forward and through into pigeon. Remember, before we settle down, we give that left foot a massage. Whether we're using fingers, whether we're using the weight of the shoulders rocking onto that right hand. It's whatever's helpful for that foot. That foot did so much for us in this short little hour we had together. Again, no rush. Keep on doing this as long as this is still helpful. At any point when you're satisfied, you're welcome to lower down into sleeping pigeon. Okay, heading out. If you need a couple of wiggles for the hips, bring yourself to kneeling and just wag those hips left and right. And when that feels okay, take a child pose, starting to sit the hips back, stretch the arms forward. Leaving that left arm forward, let's spread this right shoulder down onto the ground. Just easing into a nice passive shoulder opener. And unwind the right arm, thread the left under and through. Nice inhale, equal exhale. Unwind this arm. Take 2 more equal breaths to right here in the middle. As we come up to sit on our feet, we're going to go into a front of the foot stretch. So left hand comes off to that left side so that the right hand can lift the right knee up. Know that if the foot is really, really tight, you might need to lean significantly over to that left side to get the foot up a little bit. So it's up to you how far you need to lean. Well, let's begin to feel that front of the right foot. Take a good inhale. Equal exhale. Set that side down. Switch it over to the lifting up of the left knee, maybe significant lean, up to you. Another inhale. Equal exhale. Drop that knee down. We're going to shift our hips to the left side of our feet, so our feet are off to the right. From here, your right hand reaches as far over on the floor as you can to that side. And then left arm reaches up to sky. Let it drop over. Even let the right ear go to right shoulder. From here, leave that ear over the shoulder as the left arm returns back down to float above the ground. This will start to pull that left shoulder into a really good stretch. Good. Head rises up. Let's shift the hips to the other side. So we're reaching left arm to the left, right arm up and over. Even let the head go over left shoulder. Right hand drops down as the head stays over left shoulder. Feel that right shoulder pulling itself into the stretch. Nice inhale. And exhale, rise up. Allow yourself to come up and forward so that we can tuck our toes. Try to get all 10 tucked. We're gonna head into a toe stretch. So for some people, just heading some weight backwards is about all your feet can handle. Others can take your entire body weight, coming all the way up tall, like that equator stacked again, right here in the center. So don't feel like you're in any pressure to do one or the other. Allow yourself to give it those toes a couple of breaths. Maybe if you're here, you take another shoulder stretch, bringing the right arm across the body. And open. Left arm across the body. And release. Let's try to go 2 more breaths. Equal inhales as exhales. Good. Making our way onto all fours. We can give our toes some nice circles. Maybe we even count them out. Good. Our feet are in an amazing spot. So this is our last minute or so before we head into Shavasana. So listen to your body. If there's last stretches your body knows it needs to take the next full minute or 2 to do that. Maybe there's seated stretches. Maybe there's stretches back on the ground. Maybe even legs up the wall to give the feet a huge break after all this work and all the stretching that they've done. So just keep on playing around. You can have a full 30 more seconds, maybe another minute. Just keep on playing. There's no rush to get into Shavasana. Know that you can take as much time as you need doing these little movements. But sooner or later, when you do feel like you're ready to rest, that final resting pose, allow yourself to at least start the Shavasana, focusing on that equal breath. Equal inhale flowing in, equal exhale flowing out. Just allowing that balance to kind of rock us into our state of equilibrium, our state of harmony, our state of perfect balance right in the center. And it's almost like in this moment, all parts of us are in balance. We're in harmony. We're centered. We're equal. So keep this breath flowing. If it naturally fades to something else, allow it to. We'll be here for several minutes in this meditative, beautiful, harmonized state. Begin to deepen inhales. Deepen exhales. Introduce movements back to the body. Little movements to fingers, toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching out like we're waking up first thing in the morning. Eventually taking a nice fetal position off to one side. Enjoying a couple of bonus breaths, maybe 3 or 4 good, deep, relaxing breaths. Sooner or later, making our way up to a comfortable seated position. And as we're here with a tall spine like the equator, centered and balanced, we bring our left and our right hands to join, symbolizing that balance, that harmony, that state of equilibrium. And we realize between our sun half and our moon half, our light and our darkness, we can find a balance internally, regardless of how the rest of the world is. There's really only one day in the spring and one day in the fall of perfect balance. But we can find this type of harmony, this equilibrium within, whenever, based on how our energy is, based on how we feel physically, mentally, emotionally. We bring ourselves into balance at that point, meeting ourselves wherever we are. And so with this kind of balance to lead us forward, let's allow ourselves to wrap up the time we shared together with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. Om. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.